Hi YouTube, this is a review of my 2007 Mazda 3 GT Hatchback. It's the 2.3 liter 4-cylinder, and this is a first generation Mazda 3. This was the top of the line model offered. And I'm going to go over some driving characteristics of it, some dynamics, handling, and just a review, being that I've owned the car for almost 2 years now, and I've put almost 20,000 miles on the car. Originally, I purchased it with 120,000 miles, and right now it's just about to hit 140,000 miles. And this is what I had sold my wife's Nissan Altima for in one of my other reviews, and I purchased this car for myself, and I've been using it as a daily driver. So one of the things I really liked about this car is the styling of it. I feel like it's got a pretty classic and timeless style to it. It's a nice clean hatchback. I don't feel like it's over-styled like the second generation was. It's got nice clean lines. And I feel like starting in, it was around 2010, the second generation one, I feel like that one was over-styled. But this one, I really like the look of it. And I had driven a 2018, and I really didn't like the driving dynamics of it compared to this first generation. So I'll go over some of that stuff. So getting inside the car, it's got leather seats, heated leather seats. This is a 5-speed manual, and I put the Mazdaspeed Accessory short throw shifter on there. You could tell the shifter is kind of tilted towards the driver's position, and then it's got nice short throws. It's a little bit notchy. I put in Redline manual transmission fluid, and that did help things, but the throws are nice and short. I also replaced, there's these bushings that are usually rubber in the car, and it kind of give the throws like a rubbery feel, but I replaced them with the solid metal bushings. That did help out things. It feels more solid now when you shift it, and definitely gives it a better feel. So that is one upgrade that I do recommend, along with getting some better manual transmission fluid. I really like the clutch in this car too. I replaced the pedals with the Mazdaspeed aluminum pedals, but the clutch is nice and heavy. It's got some weight to it, and I do like that compared to a lot of newer cars. They kind of make the clutch pedal a little overly sprung, and they took a lot of weight out of the clutch. I like to feel the engagement point, and I like to feel some weight in the clutch pedal. So I do like that. Sitting in the driver's position, it's got the leather wrapped steering wheel. It doesn't have the bolsters on the steering wheel, but I kind of like just the classic frame of the steering wheel. The door armrest is wide enough, which is nice for long drives. I feel like a lot of cars, even the newer Mazda that I drove, they kind of taper it a little bit too much towards the back of it. And this is tapered, but it is enough to rest your elbow on. And the armrest doesn't slide forward like the Nissan one, but it is wide enough to rest your elbow on there. But it would be nicer if it slid forward like the Nissan. The heated seats are just on or off. There's no levels to it, but I think that's good enough. They do look a little bit cheesy though, compared with most modern toggle switches or dials that you can dial up and down. One thing I don't like about this car is the center stack has way too many buttons on it, and it's not intuitive at all compared to either the CX-5 that I also own or the past cars I've owned. When you're driving, trying to figure out things, this is like the least intuitive center stack I've had in a car. Handling dynamics. So the car does handle good. I put a Mazdaspeed rear sway bar in there, and that kind of helped out some of the handling characteristics. I also replaced the front struts and rear shocks and front end links. I'll put a link that details some of the modifications I've done, and you can check that out if you're interested or if you own one of these cars. I did put a Hypertech tune on the car, which is very easy to do. You just plug that into your ODB2 port, and it took about 5 minutes to tune the car, and that did make the engine a lot peppier, and I feel like it runs smoother and it's got more power throughout the power band. Let me pop the hood. So this is that 2.3 liter engine. I average about 30, 31 miles a gallon, mostly highway driving. It does feel like a torque monster compared to some of the Civics I've owned, compared to the Mazda Miata. The engine has a lot of torque to it, being it's a bigger 4-cylinder, 2.3 liter. It's pretty similar to the 2.5 liter in the Mazda CX-5, at least in the way that it feels. This is a strut bar, Whiteline Racing strut brace that I have put on. I'm not too sure what to say about that. It does feel like it helped the steering feel a little bit more immediate, but I can't really quantify if it actually did help. But for the price, I'm happy with it. I also put on a Mazdaspeed accessory cold air intake. You can kind of see the plumbing down here for that, and that kind of lets the engine breathe when you hit the higher RPMs. I think like it kind of traded some of the horsepower found in the lower RPMs to give it a little bit more power throughout the RPM band. So if you do wind out the car, I feel like that kind of helps spread the power a little bit higher up in the RPM band. It has a hydraulic electro power assist steering, so it's kind of like a hybrid. And I feel like this car offers more steering feel and communication than the later Mazda models with just the electro power assist. So definitely when I compared this to 2018, that was another thing that I liked better. I like the steering feel better in this, the communication. I like the weight of the clutch in this car better, the throws in the shifter better. So those are all things that kind of went into my purchase of this car over a new 2018. And like I already spoke about, the tune helped the car a little bit as well. Has 17-inch wheels on it, and I do feel like the ride is a little bit harsh, especially in city streets, even with the new shocks and struts. A lot of bumps to the ride, but it does handle pretty sporty compared to other economy cars out there. Some negatives: I really don't like the seat, the driver's seat. It's a little bit uncomfortable on long drives. I have long legs, and it really doesn't offer much in the way of support for thighs. The seat's pretty short, if you could see that. So it really lacks thigh support there. It does have a sunroof, power sunroof. Go over some cargo space. So it is pretty versatile, especially with the seats folded down. Offers a lot of cargo room. A lot of Home Depot runs in this. Fit a Christmas tree in the back of it. And that's one of the reasons I like a hatchback as a daily driver. It kind of does the job all around. It's a good all-around vehicle, good gas mileage, reliable. Room where you need it. There is not much rear legroom, especially with the way that I sit in the vehicle. You can see that there. Let's try to sit in it for you. But if I'm 6 feet tall and I have long legs, I can still squeeze back here, so it probably wouldn't be a problem for most. And I do have more than enough headroom sitting in the back seat. And the rear armrest does fold down. It's nice. And it has built-in cup holders, which is another nice feature. And that's pretty much all I have to say about the car. If you do have any questions, feel free to comment below. Went over the handling of the car, the engine. The one other negative besides the seat, the driver's seat comfort, I would note would be the noise on the highway. The road noise is pretty loud on the highway, especially if you use this for long commutes. So yeah, that would be the only two drawbacks with the car, but everything else I do like, from the styling, the handling, the economy of it, the space. There's enough modifications out there if you're into that kind of a thing. And for now, you can get these for a pretty good deal. And like I said, I had planned on buying a 2018, and I couldn't justify spending that amount of money on a car I wasn't super happy with. So I made the choice to buy used. All right, thanks for watching.